What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me today, and today we are talking about, well, one of my favorite mods from Farming Simulator 25. Of course, you saw it in the title. Enhanced Vehicle mod is officially here for Farming Simulator 25 for my PC players, of course. Console players, this is not unfortunately a mod that you will be able to use, but PC players, this is a mod that I would say complements the new GPS, the new in-game GPS for Farming Simulator 25. And there's a couple new things in it. We're going to dive through it, and I'll give you kind of my quick rundown. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything, but I'll give you the quick rundown on how everything works. We'll test things out, and we'll take a look at it because, yeah, once again, fantastic mod that's now in Farming Sim 25. It's a great logo to see in your mod folder, that's for sure. So once again, this mod itself, guys, I'm going to put the link down in the description. You get it off GitHub. Done by Zhool, Z-H-O-O-L. He has made this mod. It is currently on version 1.1.2.2 as of recording. So make sure you're getting the most up-to-date version. This may be possible that it comes to the mod hub. As of right now, you need to go to the external site, the GitHub site, and download it there. But at some point, we may see this. We did see it, of course, in the mod hub in Farm Sim 22. And as we load in, I just realized I'm actually a version behind on mine. I don't think there's anything too different. It's on 1.1, it's 1.1.2.2 now. I'm not sure. There may be some discrepancies on what we talk about, but regardless of which, it is looks like it's been updated 2 days ago as of recording, and I think we have a version before that. So currently, this is off of a third-party website. Like I said, if you need help installing a mod from a third-party site, check the video up in the top right-hand corner. It should be up that direction. That one. Go check out that video. That gives you a little help on how to install mods. But you'll need to get off a third-party website to get it up and running. Now, what does this particular mod do that's much different from our internal GPS? Because like I said, that's really what most people use this for originally in Farm Sim 22, because it does allow you to, well, use a similar GPS that we currently have in Farm Sim. Well, it's a heading lock. It's not a GPS. It doesn't necessarily know exactly where you are and keep track of that, but it does allow you to stay on track a little bit. But there's a lot more that this particular mod does. So let's start from the very top, the top right-hand corner. You can see you get a little bit more explanation on damage and paint from your vehicle that you're currently in. Underneath that, you're going to get your fuel, and that tells you exactly what liter of fuel instead of just getting a gauge. It's a little bit more precise. In fact, if we fire this up, does that work now? Yes, there we go. We also get a gauge telling us how much fuel we are currently using, which is very cool to see, so you have an idea of what your fuel consumption is. Now, in the bottom right, and that's what people mostly notice, of course, you're going to get some added controls down there. Now, most of that stuff down there you see, like the top bubble above the speedo, that there is all your heading lock information. It tells you which mode you're in, the degree that you're running currently through your fuel, like we're at 180 degrees currently, I believe. And then it also tells you what the width of the equipment that you're pulling behind that you're going to want to set up. And it tells you how which number of tracks you're on. We'll go through all of that. On top of all of that stuff, which is kind of cool to see, of course, there's more things that are still in here that you might not even notice at first glance. Like, for one, you now have a park brake. And you can actually hear that on and off as we engage or disengage. So red obviously is off or on, green is off. It's controlled by default with the enter on your numpad on your keyboard. On top of that, over the left-hand side, you've got a differential control. So you can now drive in two-wheel drive, I believe, if we take that off. There we go. Now we are technically, I believe, in two-wheel drive, and both our front and rear differentials are currently unlocked. Now, if I were to push control 9 on my numpad again, I'm going to lock the diffs to get four-wheel drive, which we're normally in. But you can see there is a differential for the front and rear with control 7 or 7 and 8 to lock the differentials. Now, this doesn't work all that great in the grand scheme of things. However, it is noticeable in certain circumstances where maybe if you actually get stuck on a barricade or something along those lines, it will actually make a change to your game and allow you to move your vehicle potentially where you wouldn't have been able to before, which is kind of cool. Now, below that, inside the speedometer itself, you're going to get a mileage tracker. Now, this is actually new. This wasn't in Farm Sim 22, I do not believe. And actually, if you hit Control 5, I believe, yes, you have a tripometer as well. So you have a mileage gauge as well as a tripometer. If you click and hold, so Control 5 and hold it, that's going to reset the tripometer. So you have both of those. Obviously, your hours are normal. Your cruise control is still there. I believe at the bottom there, the total weight, that's also added in with this mod, if memory serves me correctly. I don't see that in the patch notes, but anyways, I'm pretty sure that's That's part of it. Okay, let's talk about the heading lock, or the poor man's GPS, if you will, because that is pretty much the big thing with this. Now, at its simplest form, guys, it's going to simply allow you to lock onto a heading. So we're at about 88 degrees right now. It's going to round us a little bit if I just quickly reset it. There's no working width right now because I don't have a device that's controlled with the truck right now, obviously. But I can still lock onto a heading like 90 degrees. And there we go. Now the truck is going to stay at this heading no matter, well, what it runs into, essentially. I can steer away from this and reset it. So if I steer, it unlocks it. Control End is going to simply lock it back on. Now, that is the simplest method we're talking about on this. Now, you can see there's a bunch of other things that are being displayed there. Let's go over to a tractor and we can discuss that where it makes a little bit more sense. And guys, I should mention all these shortcuts I'm talking about, they are all listed on the GitHub site. Check the README notes or the patch files. Any of those files, there's information on all these shortcuts because you're going to need to kind of know them just to be able to activate everything seamlessly. And I should also mention, if you go into the controls, which let's take a look, you can reassign these all to your heart's content. So if you have, especially if you have like an external joystick wheel, something along those lines, I usually reassign stuff as we get going here. So yeah, there's a ton of controls in here. Of course, you can go and reassign, but they're all located inside your control files, of course. And we'll see if we can talk about the ones I at least use more often than not. All right, we've got a Case 400 series ready to go. We're going to go do some tillage work in this field, which tends to be the best thing for this, I think. Now, like I said, this new mod works best, I find, in conjunction with the current new GPS. So the best way I've been finding to run this is typically allow our new GPS to run the headlands. So we'll just kind of come in here, we'll get set up. We'll just get set up in a spot that kind of makes sense. Right in here. We'll fire up our new GPS system. It wants to do 3. Can I do 2? I just want to do... we'll do 3. We'll do 3. Let's see if we can do 3 headlands. Actually, you know what? We'll keep it simple. Let's do 2. We'll do 2 headlands. And I'm going to have it do the headlands because this new heading lock system in Enhanced Vehicle does not do headlands. It's simply back and forth. But I find it's a little bit more, it has more options, it's a little more efficient as we go around. But you don't have the nice green lines, you don't have the nice lines that the GPS system allows you to quickly lock on with. It's a whole thing. Anyways, we're going to do our headlands here with the GPS system, like I said. And once I get that done, we'll bring up the new Enhanced Vehicle heading lock system, and we'll talk about how it works. All right, headlands are finished. Now, I'm going to set and line ourselves up to go down this row right here instead of what the in-game GPS is trying to get me to do. We're going to line it up down this way here and see what it is. It looks like it's about 280 degrees. So in order to get started, all we have to do is simply, well, of course, prep our equipment. Control numpad 2. That's going to reset everything. You can see that the controls all reset now. We're on line 1. It's also going to measure the tool that we're connected to make sure that's set up. And now we are essentially ready to go. If I hit Control End, that's going to try to engage the heading lock, and it's going to try to get us to 280 degrees. To bring up the lines, let's get rid of the lines from the in-game GPS. And to bring up the lines for our new Enhanced Vehicle heading lock, it's Control numpad 3. And there is the current system that it's trying to set me on. I don't really like that very much, do we? So there's ways of changing this as well. I believe it's Control 4, is that right? No, it's Control page up. There we go. So page up and page down, and we can adjust our degrees so that we can get the accurate one. Now, since we're at 275 when I engaged it, it's probably rounded up to the 280. I could have just had it at closer to 270. I think it goes by 10 degree increments. Now, before we get engaged and go through this field a little bit, there is a whole menu system, which I might as well show you guys. Control, and is it the divide or multiply? Divide sign, the slash on numpad. That's going to bring up your whole menu screen. Now, there's a bunch of things in here. You can turn off or turn on all of your settings, which was what we're looking at right now, the HUD settings. So if there's things you don't want to see, you can just turn those off. So if you don't want certain menu things to be activated, if you don't care. For instance, engine temperature really has no effect, but you can turn it off if you don't want to see it. But anyways, back at the top, we have our headland mode. We have some modes here, which we'll talk briefly about once we get into it. Our headland distance. is currently set as what our working width is of the tool that's connected. So that's one headland is 7.6 meters. So it knows that. It needs to know that obviously for keeping track of where we are in the field. And it give you an alarm sound on how close we are to the edge of a field. Currently it defaults to 10, I believe. Track assistance. You can see you can change what's being displayed. I'll show you a couple of these ones when we get back in. There's a bunch of all the different line systems that will show up in game when you're playing. You can obviously hide automatically, which is really kind of nice actually. I like having this so it shows up right when you activate it, and then once you start driving it just kind of slowly disappears. Kind of cool to see that. And then you have the time on how long it takes for that to hide. Some snap to angles. There we go. It's 10 degrees, like I said. So you can change that as well, which I didn't even know about, to be honest with you, and how many tracks are visible. I have already set my system up. We have heading lock engaged. You can see because it's green, I can just simply drive ahead and it's going to stay on this heading. Now, it doesn't do headlands, like I said, like the in-game GPS does. It will not follow a field around. It's simply going to lock me onto this this heading. Now you can see I have a -2, a -1 beside me. Over on this side, there's a 1, there's a 2. You can see that the 1 right beside the cultivator is green. So that means that's where I want to go. Now, if you look down the menu system, you can see it says 0, then +1, and it goes to 1, right? I can totally change this. So right now, that's telling me that I'm currently on row 0. I'm set up to just add 1 row on my turnaround, which is going to put me onto row 1, and that's what you can see why it's green there. So if I go to the end and we get up to our headline, you should actually hear it beep at some point here. There we go. If I hit the turnaround button, which it is control home, there we go, control home, you can see now the tractor is trying to switch around and go to 90 degrees. So I'm not steering whatsoever. I'm just letting it do its thing. It's going to try to go 90 degrees, get to row 1, and we're going to simply reverse. I didn't steer whatsoever. My hands were off the controls. I just hit the accelerator, and it automatically spun me around. So now you can see that the little display says we are row number 1. We're going to add 1 and go to row 2 next time, which is right along beside me. Now, like I said, this is completely customizable. So if you wanted to, you know what, I don't really want to go to the left. I want to go back to the right on my next turn. I can hit Control 4, and that's going to spin me around and go back. I can choose which row I want to go to based with Control 4 or Control 6. So you can switch it up completely. Now, I can even skip rows with this. You can see I'm on -2. Actually, let's go +2. We'll go +2. So instead of going to row 2 when we get to the end, I'm going to go right down to row 3. So this is great if you're doing multiplayer or you want to work with somebody else basically, and you can skip rows, or you have a larger implement. Like you could do this with the in-game GPS, of course, but you have to do all the driving yourself. Here, I can just let it do its own thing, and it's going to keep on doing that. Like I just hit Control Home, it steers it around perfectly for me. I don't even have to think about it. I can sit in the driver's seat and just let the GPS control itself. Now, we can actually go one more step further and allow it to turn automatically when it feels it's at the end of the field in the headland. So that's Control, and I believe it's the multiplication button. There we go. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner now, we've added that turnaround. I believe it's at the edge of the field currently. If we go into our menu, I believe we can actually change that. So you have turnaround automatically. If the headland is reached. There we go. So when the headland is reached, that's when that'll happen. You can also disable cruise control with this menu. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to disable cruise control, but you can have that as an option, regardless of which. Oh, we're going, just keep going straight, keep going straight, keep going straight. There we go. Keep that back on. All right, so we're going to get to the end. I've got my hands here, not controlling steering. Once we get to the end, hey, I'm also going to get a achievement. It's going to steer automatically for me. Look at this. Does it all automatically. I didn't control it at all. So you can just let the GPS handle everything on your equipment when you're using the enhanced vehicle mod. The GPS or the heading lock feature does allow you to, well, make life a little bit easier. Like I said, it's much better to use the headlands first and then come in and put your enhanced vehicle mod on to do the heading lock and go through your field like we have been. I'm sure you can think of a bunch of other different farming tasks that this would be great to use it as well, though. Now, of course, you can get rid of the menu, so you don't even have to see the lines if you don't want to. You can turn those all off. You can see there's a couple different options for seeing lines on here, depending on what you want to see. If you want to see what the track you're currently on is, if you want to see all the lines around you, those are all options that you can choose to have activated or to not. But I'm just saying, there's a ton of different activation modes on this. Take a look at that. Go into the menu and kind of customize it to how you want, because yeah, like I said, there's options that can make the game as realistic, unrealistic, as much as you want, really. Let's see how this turnaround goes here. This is going to be kind of an awkward one. There we go. We're at the headland now. See, this is where things can kind of get a little dicey as we get a little bit too close to some trees. Oh, just snuck that one by. Anyways, looks pretty cool. Nonetheless, that's the new enhanced vehicle mod. Like I said, I'm really happy to see this brought back into Farming Simulator, a 25 from Farm Sim 22. Very cool mod. Use it in conjunction with the new in-game GPS. Things are just getting better and better. So I hope that explains how that whole mod works. If you have any questions, of course, drop a comment. If you have any other different ways of using it that are maybe a little out of the norm, let me know down in the comments below. Or if you really liked it in Farm Sim 22, let me know what you thought of it, what you think of the differences. Now, I'm loving the new odometer, to see how many miles I put on my equipment and be able to reset the trip odometer. I didn't even know that was possible until like yesterday. So cool. Anyways, thanks for watching. Of course, the link for this mod is down in the description. Get it off the GitHub site. Make sure you keep it up to date, because it looks like it's going to be updated somewhat regularly for the next, well, who knows how long. But anyways, appreciate you guys watching this video. Drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more Farming Simulator 25 content. We got another mod I need to talk about soon. Yeah, it's going to be good. Anyways, if you want more about this, about GPS, I've got a link on that, of course, as well. Check that video out with the in-game GPS. We kind of talked about that, how it all works. And now you have a whole new way to use it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. It's Klutch. Over and out.